So welcome back to From the Burbs to the Tetons. This is going to be another video in our miscellaneous rambling series. So electricity versus propane. So which one makes the most sense? I was reading an article in the Green Building Advisor. It's an online website I belong to. It is a pay site, by the way. I'll give you a link to the article because depending on the situation, sometimes it's like, oh, we'll let you read 4 articles for free, or it happens to be one of the free articles, but I would say probably about 80% of the articles you have to pay to read them. And they're worth the money. They really do a lot of good research there. So what the general gist of the article is that it doesn't make sense to use natural gas and propane and heating oil anymore if you don't have to. At one time, they were cheaper than electrical, and now in general they're not. This will depend on where you're at from area to area, and especially how expensive your electricity is. The article was alluding to the fact that in the Northeast, the cost for a kilowatt hour of electricity is very expensive compared to other places in the country. I'm moving to Idaho. It's one of the lowest places in the country. Gas, propane, heating oil are no longer the slam dunk cost-wise over electricity that they used to be. So just from a cost perspective, you really should start taking a close look at that. And I hadn't thought of that. I just assumed the propane was going to be less expensive for those high-energy heating appliances. So which one is greener? That depends on how your electrical company is producing their electricity. If they're using coal, it's not going to be that way. But a lot of electrical companies are using natural gas. And natural gas, if they're producing it there and you're producing it with natural gas, again, it's going to be kind of a wash as far as which one's going to be greener. Propane isn't quite as clean as natural gas. Then fuel oil is, another whole step worse. And then you start getting into the coals that are like twice as bad for the environment, especially where they produce CO2 emissions. So we alluded earlier that as far as expenses go, between natural gas and the electricity, it's likely to be close to a wash. Natural gas, again, depending on the price of your electricity, might be a little bit cheaper. Propane's going to be more expensive usually, and fuel oil is going to be that much more expensive. And that's just an average across the country. Absolutely, positively check out your local markets because it could be different. If you're one of those markets where the electricity is extremely expensive, then everything I just said is going to be wrong. So then let's look at maintenance. I mean, that's another area where you've got to kind of see which one's going to be easier. I mean, with electricity, you don't have to order it. If you're doing propane, you're going to have to order it. Natural gas, you don't have to order it, but you will pay a $25 or more access fee to the pipeline. Fuel oil, you're going to have somebody go ahead and deliver that. Now, electricity, it's not local to you, though. And neither is a natural gas. I've seen natural gas pipelines, stop working as well. But one thing nice about the propane and the fuel oil, it's there at your house. So if you've got a really bad storm and the power goes out, there's really not much you can do about it. But, if you have a really bad storm, unless it cuts your propane line or your fuel tank line, you're going to have propane and fuel still. Most of the appliances now use electronics, so you are going to have a little bit of electricity, but it's so little, you should be able to use either a small or medium-size generator. So I've been looking at a dual fuel medium-sized generator that will run off of propane as well as gasoline. And my thinking there is I hook it up to the propane, I get it running, it's going to go ahead and provide enough power to the whole house because the 4 major appliances that would need electricity are actually on propane. And so my thinking is it should just run fine until the power comes back on. So some other considerations. Flames heat up faster. At least that's what I've noticed on the cooktop. I'm going to have a tankless water heater, and I'm assuming the water is going to heat up much faster having a flame on it. The dryer, I don't know, they run for so long, I'm not sure that makes too much of a difference if it's a little cold the first 2 or 3 minutes while the elements warm up versus, you know, over a 50-minute dry cycle. I'm not sure that's too big of a deal. The boiler, I'm not sure that's a big deal on how quickly it warms up either. It takes quite a bit of time for the radiant heat to start radiating through the floor. I've talked to a few people, and my understanding is that it takes about an hour for that to completely warm up. So there, like the dryer, I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. But with the hot water and definitely using it on the stove will make all the difference in the world. I like cooking with flame. I like doing stir fries a lot. My wife and I eat stir fry probably 2 times a week. And having a gas flame to get the pot really warm quickly and keep it hot for searing is really nice. Right now I have an electric flat top range, and I just hate cooking on it. It just, ugh. So I guess I'm kind of stuck with, should I do the propane? And there's on a couple levels. I'm thinking about this. One, all the electricity I use in my house is coming from a hydroelectric plant. That's about as green as you can get. So even though I like the idea of having propane, and I'll go into this more in another video, but energy is all about when and where you can use it. And having the propane local, to me, with a full tank or close to full tank over the winter, means I can have energy at my fingertips. Where electricity, if something goes wrong between the hydro plant and my house, I can't do anything about that. So that's one of the things I like. One of the things I don't like is that I've got the cleanest energy source there is in the world with hydro, and I'm going to use propane. And I want to do my part to keep the planet, you know, healthy and clean and livable for humans. So what are your thoughts? Which way should I go and why? So go ahead and comment down below on what you think about my dilemma with propane, no propane. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe and click the bell if you want to be notified the next time I upload a video.